APE1, Unit 4, Customs and Traditions. Okay, the way that this video works best is if you have your book in front of you, okay, with a pen. And as we do some of the exercises, the questions, the reading, you do it with your book, with the video. That is the best way to use this video lesson. Okay, so let's get into it. For this unit, we are going to look at reading 1. So the first thing we're going to do is to look at the vocabulary on page 84. Okay, so what do we usually do in the classroom? And let's just try to repeat it here. So reading 1, preparing to read. You are going to read an article about customs and traditions in different countries. Before you read the article, read the definitions below. Complete the sentences with the correct form of the words. Okay, let's have a look at our vocabulary. So we have appearance, the way someone or something looks, the appearance of something. Culture, the way of life, especially customs and beliefs of a group of people. Culture. Yeah, every country has its own culture. Different countries have different cultures. Exchange, verb, to give something to someone and receive something that they give you. Exchange, exchange a gift. I give you a gift, you give me a gift. Exchange. Expect, to think that something will or should happen. Expect. I expect every student to watch this video and to study with it. Or talk about just something else like the weather. I expect the weather will be very dry and cold this winter. Next one, formal, adjective of clothes, behavior, or language, serious or very polite. Formal, formal language, formal clothes, formal behavior, formal. Greet, to welcome someone with particular words or actions. To greet somebody is to say hello and to welcome them. So a noun would be a greeting. The verb is greet, to greet. And relationship, the way two people or groups feel and behave towards each other. Okay, so what you should do now is you should have a go at filling in the blanks with the words. And the way that I would recommend doing this is to pause the video, hit the space bar or just click pause with your mouse, and then have a go at writing the answers in your book. And then when you are ready, hit the space bar or hit play, and then you can check to see if you got them correct. This is the most effective and useful way of studying with this video. Okay, so now I will go through the answers. Okay, so number 1, I love traveling because I enjoy experiencing other cultures and their food, celebrations, and traditions. Number 2, in Japan, it is customary for business people to exchange business cards when they meet for the first time. It is customary, custom. It is a custom. But also, in this sentence, customary could be the same as it is usual. It is normal. It is customary. It's a custom that people usually do. Number 3, in Korea and some Spanish-speaking countries, people do not expect a woman to change her last name when she gets married. Right, so in my country, for example, England or the UK, if two people marry, it's usual for the lady, for the female, to change her name, her family name, to her husband's name. So their names change. But in Korea and some Spanish-speaking countries, people do not expect a woman to change her last name when she gets married. 4, in Thailand, people greet each other by holding their hands together, bowing, and saying sawadi, which is similar to saying hello or good day in English. Many languages have 2 ways to say you. They have a formal word to use in polite situations, like work, and a different word for family and friends. So yeah, this is like Korean language. Korean language has formal and informal. 반말 and 존댓말. Formal or informal would be 반말, formal would be 존댓말. Number 6, I always spend a lot of time on my hair and clothes. Before a special occasion, I want to make sure my appearance is perfect. Okay, and then number 7, in most cultures, people who have a close family relationship enjoy spending time together and giving each other gifts. Okay, so there we go. That's the vocabulary. Make sure that you're okay with the words. Translate them if you need to. And of course, we're going to look at them in the article. Okay, so we're going to read reading 1, page 86. And have a look at the title, Customs Around the World by Andy Schmidt. Customs Around the World by Andy Schmidt. There is a reason why the person's name is there. We're going to see why later. Now, the part on the left where it says annotating a text, we can just skip this quickly, but basically it's just telling you when you read a text, sometimes it's good to highlight like they did in yellow, or to circle words, to underline words, to write notes. It's just a helpful way to study when you are reading something. Underlining words you don't know, or underlining important words. But I'm pretty sure you guys do this anyway. Okay, so I'm going to read the article, and you should also read together. Now you can read it in your head silently, or you can read it out loud. That's probably better, but it depends where you are, of course. Okay, so while I do the reading, I'm just going to make my face disappear, just so nobody gets distracted. And okay, let's read it. So we got 9 paragraphs, quite a lot. Paragraph 1, of course, is always the introduction. And here we go. In recent decades, foreign travel has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. International travel has many benefits, but visitors can run into trouble if they don't know some basic rules about the cultures they are visiting. It is very important for travelers to take the time to learn about the cultures they plan to visit, so that they know what to expect and how to avoid cultural misunderstandings. That is why we are presenting this Customs Around the World series, where we will look at 3 different cultures every month to help you become a well-informed traveler. This month's exciting destinations are Brazil, Japan, and Saudi Arabia. Okay, so here we go. The next part is Brazil. We're going to read about cultural traditions and customs in Brazil. And this is so people who travel there don't make mistakes. Paragraph 2. In general, Brazilian culture is informal. Most Brazilians are very friendly people. So it is important to say hello and goodbye to the people you meet. Normally, women kiss men and each other on the cheek, but men usually just shake hands. Brazilians typically stand very close to each other and touch each other's arms, elbows, and back regularly while speaking. Even if this is unusual in your culture, try not to move away if this happens. If you go to a business meeting, you are not expected to take a gift. In fact, an expensive gift can be seen as suspicious. Now you can have a look at the bottom of your page to find the meaning of the word suspicious. It says adjective, causing a feeling of distrust or that something is wrong. Suspicious. If you don't know what it means, check the translation of your native language. Paragraph 3. On the other hand, if you are invited to someone's house, you should take a gift. For example, flowers or chocolate. However, avoid anything purple or black, as these colors are related to death. If you are invited to dinner, arrive at least 30 minutes late, but always dress well, because a person's appearance can be very important to Brazilians. Right, so that little part there about the time, that tells us that usually Brazilians are running late. So you should not arrive early because they're probably not expecting you to be on time. Right, next country then is Japan, paragraph 5. The Japanese are quite different from the Brazilians. They tend to be quite formal, so don't stand too close. Kissing or touching in public is not common. When you meet Japanese people socially, they may shake your hand. However, bowing, bending forwards to show respect, is the traditional greeting. In a business meeting, the Japanese often like to know what your position is in your company before they talk to you. You should hand over a business card using both hands, and when you receive a business card, you should immediately read it carefully. It is important to be punctual. You can see the meaning of punctual is on time. You should arrive early and dress formally. Gifts are often exchanged, but the recipient may refuse the gift at least once before accepting it. Recipient means the receiving person. The person who receives is called the recipient. You should remember to do the same if you receive a gift. When you present your gift, you should say that it is a token of your appreciation. And you can see the meaning of token of your appreciation. An inexpensive gift meant to express thanks or gratitude. Okay, and then the final country is Saudi Arabia. And let's read about that country. Saudi Arabia is a very traditional country. In business situations, you should know that hierarchy is important to Saudis. Okay, the meaning of hierarchy: status, a system for organizing people according to their importance. Hierarchy. So it's like in a company, you have the director, the vice director, the supervisor, vice supervisor, team leader. It's this kind of system is called a hierarchy. Therefore, it is important to greet the oldest or the most senior person first. Men may shake hands with men and women with women, always using the right hand. Men and women do not touch or shake hands in public. Personal relationships are very important in Saudi Arabia. In a business meeting, do not start with business matters immediately. Instead, start by asking about people's family or health. Arrive on time for business meetings, but do not be surprised if others are late. Punctuality is less important in Saudi Arabia than it is in Japan or the US. Business dress is formal. Men should wear dark suits and ties, and women should wear modest clothes. Modest means covering your skin. Covering the skin. Modest clothes. Gifts are not expected at business meetings until those involved have formed a strong relationship. If you are invited to a Saudi home or office, acceptable gifts are good quality chocolate, coffee, or dates. Dates are a type of dried fruit. Be careful not to admire the things the host owns, because he or she will feel obliged to give an item to you as a gift. Okay, everybody, so that is the reading for this unit. Okay, and let's go to the next page. Okay, so we've got some language development sections. This is on page 92. And 92 and 93, actually, all of this, it's all about avoiding generalizations. You can see that at the top of this slide. Avoiding generalizations. What is the meaning of generalization? It means you're saying something that is too general, like this. Everybody in the UK loves football. That's too general. It's not true. It's better to say many people like football. So don't be too general. Avoid generalizations. Here are some ways you can do it. So the first part here, I'm going to read this red box. In academic English, be careful not to make generalizations unless you have details to support them. For instance, a reader of the example sentence below could argue that not all cultural traditions change. So look at the sentence. All cultural traditions change. Well, the problem here is the word all. Is that accurate? All cultural traditions change? That's too general. So we need to avoid it, and we need to replace the word all. And there are three options here. So the first one is using a word like many. Many cultural traditions change. Many. Several. You might even say most. You don't want to say all. Next one is using a modal verb, can. Cultural traditions can change. Cultural traditions often change. So using sort of modal verb. And then we've got another one there. Cultural traditions tend to change. Many, can, tend to. Let's just concentrate on those three examples. And we'll have a quick go at doing the questions below. So pause the video and try to answer the questions as you can see on the slide, also in your book. And then when you're ready, start the video again and check your answers. And I'll now go through them on the video, in the video. Right, so number one, we tip the waiter in restaurants. How can we make this better with using tend to? Well, you put it before the main verb. So we tend to tip the waiter in restaurants. We tend to. We tend to tip. Tend to means usually. We usually tip the waiter in restaurants. We tend to. Number two, Brazilian culture is informal. Brazilian culture tends to be informal. So we're changing is to be. Brazilian culture tends to be. Right, number three, we're going to use the word can. Expensive gifts look suspicious. Expensive gifts can look suspicious. That's better. Okay, number four, common hand gestures like waving can be misunderstood in a different culture. And then number five, in the Middle East, many old people live with their children. Not all of them, many. Avoiding generalizations. This is a better way to write and a better way to talk about things. All right, now page 93, we got some other ways to avoid generalizations. You can use adverbs of frequency, which I think I did just now. So that's using words like rarely, occasionally, sometimes, often, usually, normally. Have a look at the red box. It starts at 0% and it goes all the way to 100%. Now, you're only going to use the one at 0% or the one at 100% if you are absolutely sure and that you have evidence. Then you can say never or always. However, if you do not have that kind of information or that evidence or that supporting details, then you should use the words in the middle. Okay, look at their example. In Tokyo, people usually go to work by train or bus. Formal dinner parties are often difficult to organize. Okay, so again, do the same process. Pause the video, take your pen, have a go at answering the questions, and then when you're ready, check them with the video. And here are the answers. Number 1, Brazilian men usually shake hands. I'm not going to read it all. That's where you put the answer. Number 2, Saudi men often wear traditional clothing. Number 3, professionals sometimes get upset. Cultural knowledge is frequently helpful. In Japan, you should always arrive on time. Okay, so adverbs of frequency as another way to avoid making generalizations. Okay, and then there's one more way to do it, and that is to use synonyms. A synonym, words with the same or similar meanings. Okay, so using synonyms to avoid repetition. And again, have a go at doing the questions. When you're ready, check your answers, which I will show you right now. Okay, so number 1, the business meeting was short. Well, another way to say it is brief. The business meeting was brief and we went straight to the reception for our overseas visitors. Right, sorry everybody, this is not to avoid generalizations, this is to avoid repetition. Okay, I got it slightly wrong. This is about avoiding repetition. It's the same as before, avoiding using the same words. So the whole point of this is expanding vocabulary. So you can use the word brief to mean short. Number 2, the high cost of education is a bad problem or is a serious problem for many families. In many cultures, parents and their married children live in separate houses. In some countries, in certain countries, cooking traditional food is becoming less popular. There were several powerful people, there were several important people at the event. Some customs and traditions are not clear, are not obvious to people who are visiting a country for the first time. It is common for people in my country to have large families. Okay, so synonyms to avoid repetition. Page 95, responding to an author's ideas. Okay, so I told you there was a reason why there was the name of the author with the reading. Remember, his name was Andy Schmidt. Customs Around the World by Andy Schmidt. Okay, and this is why, because we're going to use his name, Andy Schmidt. Right, this is in your book. So when you are writing and you want to refer to an article or an essay or a book, you might want to use the writer's name. In fact, you should, because you don't want to copy the words. You don't want to pretend it's your words. This is related to that word I taught you at the beginning of the semester, plagiarism, which is copying other people's words. You're not allowed to do that. All right, so responding to an author's ideas. One way of responding to a text you have read is to address the author's main ideas with your own point of view. How you respond will depend on how you feel about each point. Here are some common ways. So look at the first one. You can agree or disagree with the author's points or ideas. So Andy Schmidt, his article that we read was about customs around the world. So imagine I'm writing and I want to agree or disagree with him. This is how I might start, or I might write a sentence starting like this. Despite Schmidt's detailed research, I disagree with his views on giving gifts in Japan, ... This is just an example of agreeing or disagreeing. I've mentioned Schmidt, and then I'm saying I disagree. Now, after this, I would explain why. The second one, giving an example from your own experience or of someone you know. Schmidt talks about Japanese people being formal. And this reminds me of my experience in Korea when meeting new people for the first time. Next one, connecting the author's ideas to something you read or heard from another source. Schmidt's description of formal Japanese culture reminds me of the Murakami novel, Norwegian Wood, and the scene where... Connecting the author's ideas to something you read, another book. Next one, providing a different opinion about the same issue. Schmidt says that Brazilian people expect a gift if you visit their house, such as flowers or chocolate. I think a bottle of wine or other alcohol would also be appropriate. Providing a different opinion. Last one, evaluating the point or idea. For example, saying whether you think that it is positive or negative. Schmidt's article is very positive, as it helps to show people how important culture is and how learning about it before traveling can have a significant impact on the quality of the experience. Okay, so I'm giving you some language and some examples of how to respond to an author's ideas. Let's keep going. Right, next part. This is quite important, okay? This is called paraphrasing. Page 95. Paraphrasing means rewriting someone else's ideas in your own words. This skill is important, especially when writing essays. We have to write an essay in this course. Because copying another person's exact words without referring to the source is plagiarism, stealing someone's ideas. Okay, to paraphrase, begin by reading the original text, for example. So this is from Andy Schmidt's article. International travel has many benefits, but visitors can run into trouble if they don't know some basic rules about the cultures they are visiting. So that is from the first paragraph, the second sentence. This is a quote because look, it's got Schmidt 2018 in brackets at the end, in parentheses. You can do it like this if you want to write and you want to use somebody else's words. But paraphrasing, look at the 3 ways to do it in the box below. So the first way you can do it, replace words or phrases with synonyms. So foreign travel. So we've replaced the word international with the word foreign. Foreign travel has many advantages. Advantages is a synonym of benefits. But travelers, synonym of visitors, can have problems, run into trouble, unless they spend some time learning the customs of the places they are visiting. Parentheses, Schmidt 2018. You have to put the author's name and the date. Okay, now another way you can do it is to change the order of the words. Foreign travel has many advantages, but unless travelers learn about the customs of the places they are visiting, they can have problems. Schmidt, 2018. So what we've done there is we've moved the words around a little bit. Now the third part, and this is probably the easiest one, use indirect speech. So use a phrase like according to Schmidt, and then you put the date of his article, 2018. Foreign travel has many advantages, blah, blah, blah. Or another way, Schmidt, 2018, states that. Schmidt, 2018, says that. All right, so here are 3 ways that you can use other people's words by paraphrasing. Okay, and we're going to practice this. And I'm going to give you a little assignment to do. Okay, because you have 2 Mondays off. Well, I know that this is also for some Tuesday students, but usually in the class we do writing practice. So we're going to do a writing practice, and this is in the book. A summary and a personal response. This is on page 97. Okay, so let's just read it. Writing a summary and a personal response is an opportunity to evaluate and express opinions about a writer's ideas. A summary is a short paragraph which paraphrases the main ideas and important points of a longer text. You should always write a summary in your own words, but be sure not to change the original author's ideas. The paragraph should not include your opinion. Right, so the summary is summarizing the article. You're going to choose an article, a news article, and you're going to summarize it in 1 paragraph. And then the second paragraph is your personal response. In a response paragraph, you should give your ideas about the points in the summary. Your response can include examples from your personal experience, facts or knowledge from other sources. You can use the following expressions: I agree, disagree, I think, in my opinion, in my experience. Okay, so this is the book, and this is a summary and response about Andy Schmidt's article. The first part is the summary, and the second paragraph is the response.